Yes, August gradually winding up or down or winding away. Yes, never to come back into history. You welcome me still Daybreak Show on Rock City 101.9 FM here in the city of Abeokuta. Yes, this is the voice of the people broadcasting from the radio house at Shiro, Abeokuta. Dele Ayodo is my name. I welcome you to the Citizens Forum.
And I am Chienye Egwuonwu saying good morning and welcome to Citizens Forum.
All right, stories, interesting stories will never get dry from the lands of this country. Ibadan, the capital city of the western region, and of course, it remains the political head of this country. Well, a unique town for those who know Ibadan. In so many ways, I don't know how well or good you know Ibadan. I can also call myself an Ibadan boy, having school there. I know the place very, very interesting city in all forms, really. Apart from the growth, comparatively, really, some people will complain that Abeokuta is not growing as expected. But hey, look at Ibadan itself. The area known as Ibadan, really, has it grown? Is it growing? It still remains, to my own calculation and understanding today, remains a highly conservative place. Not too much of development. Even the people there, the thinking remains almost
Ibadan way.
yes. So without any insult on all, Ibadan really is
No.
one of the places I lived and I enjoyed most. I must also confess. So no insult on any. It's not an affront on any Ibadan person. We're just saying it the way it be. And if you look historically, the Obas that has ruled Ibadan too. There are so many stories. How those who are old enough to know during the reign of the man they call Ashanke, you know what I mean. Anyway, that's just a teaser, part of what we'll be looking at this morning. As usual, interesting, exciting topic focus. So many topical issues to look at. The hate speech is still, in fact, the embassy is fanning, and look at reports coming from the, how do I say it? Is it the villa or the empire? Not our own villa, or the empire of the ones somebody they refer to as Amazon of Nigerian government in those days, Desiani. Very flamboyant, if you remember that. Yes, very flamboyant. Somebody many people would love to befriend, as it is. But today, Chienye, ah, I don't know what to say, how to describe those
So many
reports
revolutions coming up.
coming from that area. Not a happy one for people to really look at. But never mind, Nigeria will survive. Like that song says. In a couple of minutes, we introduce our guest, the former national president, Nigerian Union of Journalists, is going to be with us in a couple of minutes. Lanre Ogundipe. Together, we'll be talking Nigeria. We'll be looking at issues around this country and how we can make it better. That's the focus this morning. Yes, sir, this is the Citizens Forum on Rock City 101.9 FM. Yes, sir, he is with us, the former national president, Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Mr. Lanre Ogundipe. You are welcome, President.
Thank you, my brother.
All right, let me find out what you think about the current um, about government or attempt on controlling what people say in the guise of hate speech. You were the president of the NUJ during the military era.
Yes.
And then if you look at that era and now, um, have Nigerians not been enjoying relatively or comparatively freedom of speech?
Well, we've been enjoying relatively the freedom of speech for quite some time now. After the military uh, regime handed over power to the democratic government in 1999. Although there were a few skirmishes here and there, but that does not infringe on the freedom of speech or freedom of expression. With the latest one coming from this present regime, personally, I feel I'm highly disturbed because the way Mr. President sounded quickly reminded me of what happened in 1983-84 about Decree 4. A subtle way of stifling people's voice. And I consider this very, very absurd, because when you come to think of it, you will know that we've been discussing our leaders, and I don't think there is any hate speech in discussing leaders or in writing about the leadership problem that the country has been confronted with over time. But now that the president sounded that way, you could also see the military intelligence also building on it, saying that they are monitoring the social media, and then whether you write or you speak, they can now determine what constitutes hate speeches. To me, it's an infraction on the grand norm of this country. The grand norm, which is the Constitution, even though the 1999 Constitution is a booklet that I describe as fraudulent. In fact, it's a fraudulent book that no one should accept in this country, that we should be governed with that document.
Mr. Ogundipe, let's look at the reportorials, the editorials, commentaries in the Nigerian media, print and broadcast media, and compare it to your period when you were heading the body of journalists in this country. Those who placed papers and commentaries side by side on that occasion want to say that things has moved on positively and better.
Even at that period, because I operated under the military regime, and many of our colleagues, senior colleagues also, but at that period, that does not in any way stop us from discussing or writing about the leadership, or bring to fore, or bring the leadership into account. But now you could also see that, yes, a little bit innovations in the system and in the conduct of our affair. That also does not in any way suppress the views of the journalists or the media practitioners in performing their job. They still write editorials. Yes, is as still pungent as ever. They still write comments. They still report. It's where journalism in Nigeria is evolving. It's not a static thing that one would say, okay, the way you practiced 20 years ago is the same way you are practicing now.
That's very. Let's look at, for instance, now a specific incident, because if you continue to look at what people write or say about the president or politicians, well, there'll be opportunity for people to say, okay, it's been political and biased. But let's look at reports about Boko Haram specifically now, how Nigerian media have been reporting it, and other reports that are tagged as national security issues or national defense interest. Will you say that professionalism and ethics of the job has been adhered to, and Nigerian reporters or Nigerian media have considered national interest in that regard?
One, there are three things in the question you've just asked now. To talk about the national interest, security interest, and professionalism in discharging the duty bestowed on journalists. One, I must confess that Nigerian journalists have performed creditably well, except on few occasions where you have people complaining about uh, breaches on the ethical standard of the practice. Fine. There are bound to be a Judas in every 12. You are bound to find some who will perform below standard. That does not cast a pall on the generality of practitioners.
Okay, can we quickly have a comparison about freedom of speech and hate speech, freedom of expression and hate speech?
Now you have to look at the hate speech. Freedom of expression cannot be equated with hate speech. Neither freedom of speeches can be also regarded as hate speech. Now, how do we arrive at hate speech? Those who are accusing and alleging now started it. They started the hate speech. And if people are now yes. If you remember when the campaign started in 2014, that was when the hate speech came to fore. And Lai Mohammed, who is the information minister, started it. Now people saw that, and the government of the day, even when they came into power, did not see anything bad in what the man did. People built on that. And now when the heat is now turned on them, it's now regarded as hate speech. He who goes to equity should remember that he needs to go with a clean hand. Not only a clean hand, a clear conscience.
I talked about national, sorry, Chienye, I will just follow up to your question, Chienye. I talked about national interest earlier on. I don't know if you agree with me that the unity and peace of this country has never been this threatened, and therefore there will be need, deliberate, conscious effort by everybody, particularly the sectors in Nigeria the constitution recognized like the press, to ensure that it does not consume all of us.
One, if you look at the role of the press, pre-independence time, after independence, Nigerian press has been the stabilizer of the country. With what is on now, you will still see the press maintaining the balance that there must be sanity, there must be decorum in whatever anyone says. Now, the unity of the country. How do you arrive at having a unity when you look around you, all you see is injustice? And you are talking about unity. Don't forget that what led to the 1966 crisis that led to the coup and the counter coup and then the war started like this.
Yeah, that's why I said the peace is seriously being threatened, and there's need for people who are mature who've seen it
You see, that is why our leaders need to be cautious of whatever they are saying. If people are discussing their problems, it should be the burden of the leaders to listen to them and then look for ways of getting matters resolved, not compounding it. Now, when you say people should not discuss, to whom will they turn to? When they are being gagged, gagging them or stifling their voices will also lead to something that may be untoward.
Okay, sir, as a journalist, what effect will this clampdown have on journalism? What effect will it have on the media?
One, we have seen several clamp down on the media, but media has always triumphed. If the latest one, to me, is not new, we are used to it. We will still come out very, very strong out of it. But let me sound a note of warning here. Even with the hate speech that they are talking about, what concerns the military? The Constitution prescribes a role for them. Are they now taking over the work of the secret intelligence or the police? Are you going to shoot the hate speech or the person uttering it? Which section of the Constitution will you say empowers you to go on that? Sincerely, military should know that this is a democratic setting. They've got no business to meddle in it.
All right. An interesting topical issue developing from the Nigerian Southwest, while other regions, of course, the issue of regionalism, restructuring, fiscal autonomy, and also is going on. Ibadan has always been the political headquarters of the Southwest, and of course, an important city in the country. But interestingly, there is another issue brewing in Ibadan right now. Ibadan has a unique traditional ascendancy structure that so many people also envy, devoid of bickering and all sorts. But politicians or governments, whichever one you want to use, politicians or government will be correct, says they also want to restructure. Do you think it's appropriate, or is it the timing that is wrong, or is it the process itself?
What are they restructuring in the chieftaincy matters of Ibadan? That is the question. I'm also worried when we learned of that. But as a son of the soil and a prince, I have to say this. Government has no business meddling with the chieftaincy issue. The chieftaincy law of 1957, which subsequent governments in the state had built on to either come up with a commission of inquiry to do that, undo that, have built up on those areas. For example, Ibadan. Prior to this time, it was Olubadan, only Olubadan of Ibadan, that is a member of the Traditional Council.
Which of the Traditional Council? Oyo State
Traditional Council. Okay. Now,
sorry, is Ibadan not one city?
Ibadan is one city. Ibadan is one city. That is why you have Olubadan of Ibadan land. Now, late Chief Lam Adesina, Chief Kolapo Ishola, in 1992, set up Oloko inquiry.
Justice
Oloko inquiry. And at that time, Oloko recommended few things. That in the Traditional Council, you have some obas who are second-class obas that are not up to some of the high chiefs in Ibadan. And he said the high chiefs of Ibadan should also be made second-class oba, and they should be sitting in the Traditional Council of the state. Therefore, all the high chiefs in Ibadan literally are Obas.
Okay, so the 22 lineage that they
not the 22.
Okay.
You see, you have the junior chiefs, you have the senior ones, then you have high chiefs. The high chiefs are 5 on each of the lineage.
Yes.
Yeah. Those ones are regarded as second class Oba. And they were sitting with the traditional council. Therefore, it presupposes to say that, yes, they may not be called Oba, but they know that by law, they are. Now, it was so. During Akala period, Akala attempted to usurp the role of Olubado by upgrading some Baale to wear beaded crown. And the late Olubado, the immediate past, took exception to that. And quietly, Akala dropped that. The incumbent governor came in. You see, among the traditional council, the chairmanship is being rotated, and it was the turn of Olubado. The incumbent governor, because of his own disposition to the Kabiyesi Alaafin of Oyo, wanted to differ from that and make Alaafin
a permanent
something. Both Olubado and Seun Ogunwusi went to court over that. The matter has not been resolved till date. Now, if at all the government or the governor is desirous of doing something very unique in Ibadan, as a citizen or an indigene of Ibadan, all he need to do is to meet with Olubado, come out with a proposal on this. Now, the government now uses own veto, elevating those high chiefs to the position of Oba. Fine, it's good. But if you call me an Oba, will you tell me, Oba of where do I preside over?
So are you saying the new Obas don't have areas of operation?
They said,
don't they?
They said, okay, Oba so and so, Otun Olubadan, which area? Will they call Olubadan say right hand and then say you are presiding?
Okay.
You see, it's just a mockery of the entire system. To me, as a prince of Ibadan land, all the high chiefs are my fathers. They are my father. And with due deference to all of them, I don't think such things should happen. It may not be pronounced, they may not be pronounced as an Oba, but everyone in the city addresses them as Kabiyesi.
But Mr. Ogundipe, if we have high chiefs, somebody like the Otun, Ibadan, like you said, a highly cerebral person.
It's my uncle.
If father. You have an Ekeni agreeing to that position, don't you think it worth given a chance?
What's given a chance?
Yes, the restructure by the present government.
Yes, the restructure is one thing, but tell me, what sense do you derive when you are called an Oba without a section that you are presiding over? Their high chief is Otun Olubado. Now it's an Oba. It remains Otun Olubado. Tell me the difference.
Do you also think that this restructure would last, will stand the test of time, will go beyond the present administration?
This one is my own personal opinion. It will not stand. And it cannot stand the test of time.
But do you suspect political undertone?
Definitely.
And eventually the Olubadan systematically has been dragged into it by his reaction and utterances, which government has also faulted.
One, Olubadan said is not in support of it, and that is the prescribed authority as at this morning in Ibadan land. So where would they say they derive their own?
Yeah, but the funny thing now, sir, is this. There is no way in Yoruba, at least, when you have an Oba and then it does not have Council of Chiefs. And then
what I know,
the moment your Council of Chiefs begin to disagree with the Oba, Yorubas, before the advent of Constitution, has a way who interprets that. Then that means the Oba must leave for the council.
One, I want to also agree with you tacitly that there may be what do I call it now? An underground misunderstanding.
Yes.
And I feel that as elders, because none of these high chiefs is in the 60s, none of them except one.
They're all in their 70s.
They are all in their 70s. They should call themselves and talk to themselves. They are fathers. I cannot come into the publicly and now start castigating them. But I know they are people of high intellect and they know what should be done in getting things back to normality.
Let's look at it. Okay, your question.
Okay, quickly. Installing the new beaded crown obas, would it lessen the powers of the Olubadan?
One, thank God.
Or should I say, is there anything for Olubadan to get worried about?
Yes, Olubadan should worry. Again, there is nothing to worry about. You see, it's just a storm in a teacup, which I think they can handle inside the Council of Olubadan. Not extending it to the government, or government now meddling with the chief chancellor. No. I will rather admonish them that both Baba Kabiesi and all his brother Kabiesis, who are the Obas and the council members, should come together and resolve this issue amicably among themselves. Externalizing it will further create a gulf in Ibadan culture and tradition. All other cities in Yoruba land always admire the Ibadan ascendancy. And I think I have the governor quite well that ascendancy now will be by promotion. Who conducts the exam?
What will be the yardstick?
What will be the parameters?
The parameter, the criteria. Alright, here's Daybreak Show on Rock City 101.9 FM here in the city of Abeokuta Citizens Forum. This morning we have with us our guest and elder journalist, former president, actually was president 1997. Yes, Nigerian Union of Journalists. That's over 20 years ago. Prince Lanre Ogundipe. Well, we just talked about the ascendancy issue in Ibadan, which has become a topical issue before the end of the program. Hopefully, the network permits. We'll get in touch with the Oyo State Commissioner for Information Culture, Toya Arolegun, and then we'll also attempt to get the Otun Olubadan himself, Doctor, or I think His Royal Highness, His Royal Majesty,
His Royal Majesty,
His Royal Majesty, Dr. Lekon Balogun is also a good friend of the house. But Mr. Ogundipe, let's expand this. The position of the traditional rulers in Yoruba land appears to be exposed threatened. Some people say undermined. And this is what I mean. If Obas get paid what they call salaries or stipend or wages, whatever name they call it, and get contracts from government politicians, does this worth it? Is this not the consequence of what we are seeing? On a larger note now, why it is the incumbent governor who determines who the Oba will give the chieftaincy title to in some instance.
Well, if you look at the First Republic, there were some problems to concerning that. You remember, is it Ademola, if my memory could also afford me, that was being paid pence a month, simply because of his loyalty to the action group. When the NDNC Akitola government took over power. And I think that was what informed the Constituent Assembly when they were drafting the 1979 Constitution, to really redefine the role of the traditional rulers, that they should not be partisan. They may have a say in the development of their various cities and how they go about it. The fact is, they should be father to all. Whether party A, party B, party C, and Oba should be father of every person.
Should they receive money, salary, wages, or whatever they call it from government?
One.
What about their subjects?
One. The provision had been made that they should be catered for under the third tier of government, which is the local government.
It's still being run by politicians.
Yes, it's still being run by politicians. But there is a percentage. There is a percentage that is allocated to them at the third tier of government. And I think that one should be sufficient for them. Now to say that they should not take salary, or their indigents should be the one paying them. Supposing we have one of the cash tankers and he decides to pay and hold the Oba by his jugular, what will you do to that? That at least I'm the one paying your salary now, you should listen to me. Whereas it should be father to all. I'm in support of the constitutional provision in that respect, that at least government should provide for them. Because at the third tier of government, I must confess to you that they are also involved in the development of the grassroots. If you are a governor and you want to get in touch with people, your first point of call will be the KBC.
Sorry, let me come. I want to say because some people will say, in this era, where the governor is the chief executive officer, he has constitutional powers, he hires, he fires, either directly or indirectly, Obas and the chiefs, and dictates what they want to do. In this era where the governor, who already has that control that I mentioned, has what he called his own political structure, community development, the road, or does not to have any road.
That is why we have separation of powers. If you look at the Constitution very well, their role, the Oba's role is spelled out. The governor's role, well defined. In an area where government or governor try to muzzle the royal father up, it's an infraction. It's an infraction on the Constitution. It's an abuse of privilege. Yes, you are the governor. You are the chief executive of the state. They will still bow to your wish. But there must be decorum, there must be a way around it. Not that issuing Oba's queries, issuing Oba directive, this is how I want it done. No.
But in some instances they do.
Yes, an Oba that knows his onions quite well will tell the governor.
In Yoruba land, can any Oba come out today, just for example, and say, all of you, my subjects, today there will be fasting, nobody should eat? Or maybe extend it, today or tomorrow there will be election and I want you to vote for so person. Can any Oba
Even if Oba
exercise that power
even
Yoruba land?
Even if any Oba has such influence, he won't display it. It will be a covert thing, not an overt thing. Because once you do that, people will tag you.
Okay, we have to go on this short break for the national news at 10, but before then, begin to send in your messages via the short code 32120. First you type rock, then you leave a space, type your message, include your name, and then you send it to 32120. After the national news at 10, we'll try and connect with Toye, and then we'll continue on the discussion. Stay with us.
Yes, the Daybreak Show Citizen Forum. This morning we started by looking at what hate speech means from the angle of a veteran journalist. That took us into events in the capital of the Southwest, political and historical capital, you may want to say, Ibadan. Unique in so many ways, and events about the ascendancy to the traditional institution is on. Quickly, we've been trying to get Toya Rolegun, the commissioner for information and culture, but we have online the spokesperson for the palace now, the Olubadan of Ibadan land from the palace, Mr. Ademola Oloko. Good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
We are fine, and now is Ibadan. Good morning.
Ibadan is still fine.
All right. Now, Mr. Oloko, how far is it true that the Olubadan Kabiyesi is now involved in politicking or politicizing the attempt of government to restructure the Olubadan in council?
Well, there is no demonstrable evidence provided by the Oyo State government to show that Kabiyesi is involved in politics. As the father of all, the gate of the palace is wide open for fathers of politicians, irrespective of age, sex, or ethnic or ideological persuasion. So the position of Kabiyesi is that if you are in APC, you are welcome. If you are in PDP, you are welcome. If you are in SDP, the gate of the palace is wide open for you. If you are in the Accord Party or any other political party for that matter, you are welcome. So, it is not true. On December 15 last year, when Kabiyesi Olubadan conferred his excellency with the state governor with the highest chieftaincy title of Ààrẹ of Ibadan land, why didn't PDP or any other political party accuse Kabiyesi of an action tending towards the political? And then he gave the same thing to the wife. If you take a look at the people in the Ibadan Council, they are come from different ideological persuasions. In Ibadan, anyone is supposed to belong to any political party of it. For Kabiyesi Olubadan, is a custodian of custom and tradition. What we are talking about is that his excellency the governor and members of his cabinet are desecrating the craft and abusing our tradition and culture. That is the issue.
Now, Mr. Oloko, when you say the government is desecrating, now, today, the position today is that high majority, over 90% of those who make up the Olubadan in council have supported the governor, including many of the high chiefs.
I am telling you that the security review is beyond the king, is beyond the governor, is beyond any high chief. If you look at your security system, it is about hierarchy. High chiefs are in their own category. Senior chiefs are in their own category. Under chiefs are in their own category. Ordinary chiefs are in their own category. Minors are in their own category. If you succeed in getting maybe 7 or 8 ICs, and you said you have got majority, you have got it wrong. This is because in Ibadan, we have over 1,000 violence. We have over 600 judges. We have 45 chiefs on both sides. So if you have 47 and you are saying majority, what is the majority in that? And if the people of the city are not taken into consideration, it is not the property of the city. It is not the property of the IT. It is a creation of the city. And you have not had any council, any town hall meeting. So sample the opinion of the people before the meeting.
Now,
Okay, so are you saying?
okay.
Okay, so are you saying the governor doesn't have the powers constitutionally to install the new obas?
I can't hear you properly. Can you speak like that?
Okay, I said, are you saying the governor has no power constitutionally to install the obas?
So it's all the other.
Mm.
Actually, they have no power. If you look at the chieftaincy law, or your chieftaincy law, Olubade of Ibadan is appointing and prescribed authority. If Olubade does not prescribe anybody, how come the government goes ahead to do it? And when we're talking about separation of power, we're talking about separation of power. The government has its own power. Olubade has its own power. The law has their own power. He did this thing without taking even the lawmakers into consideration. He did it without taking the State Council of Powers and Chiefs into consideration. So this is an abuse of power.
Now,
The purpose of naked power.
Mr. Oloko, there were reports that the Olubado Kabiyesi went to town yesterday. How did the people, how are they reacting to this? How did they welcome? What was their response to the Kabiyesi yesterday?
Well, like I told the president, if we decided to organize a road show, we would have invited the press. The fact of the matter was that Kabiyesi went for a private visit from somewhere. And people saw Kabiyesi and they decided to run across his vehicle to say, wait, come on, address us. And he had to roll down the glasses. And the center was wonderful. Social media would not tell lie over that. Wonderful. We didn't pay to rent any crowd. They came out of their own position to say that this is our own king. And they were shouting Oba Jobalo, playing of the Lego. So who put that in their law? So we send the government to try and consult properly before taking action. That is one.
Now, before we let you go, Mr. Oloko, is the Kabiyesi also consulting? Because the belief out there is that there is no chief in the palace right now.
No chief in the palace right now?
Yes.
If you have become a chief, how can you be a chief?
Yeah, that's the position that the Olubade no longer has chiefs.
Olubade has a lot of chiefs. When Olubade went out yesterday, you followed him. You followed him. Are you getting my point?
Yes.
They are the ones who are afraid. Well, we have only one Olubade. People are telling me now, okay, we have only one Olubade in Ibadan. Where I am is a public place. And as I'm speaking to you, people want to speak. There is only one Olubade in Ibadan land. Nobody has the right to change our law without our approval.
Okay, Mr. Oloko, can you just have 1, 2, or 3 of those who say are around you? Let's just get what they think. Let's just hear their voices.
No problem.
Hello?
Hello, sir.
Good morning. Where exactly are you?
I'm in Ibadan.
Yes, I know. Where in Ibadan? Ibo, exactly which spot?
I'm inside my vehicle.
Adugbo, where in Ibadan?
Around the side of Moabai, going on towards Challenge.
Okay, you are going towards Challenge. Are you an Ibadan indigene?
Absolutely, I'm Ibadan.
Okay, what's your opinion about the issue?
My opinion? without proper consultation with our people and the king. And what he has done is illegal. That is our opinion. That's our opinion.
All right, thank you. Let's have the next person with you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine. Are you also an Ibadan indigene?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, what's your opinion? What's your position on the issue, the governor and the Olubadan?
My position is that the governor acted out of the law. For a compared with that security law, without the cost to Olubadan and the people of the land. That is my opinion.
All right, then. Thank you.
As soon as the security declaration he was talking about, it was formulated during the time of Oba Isaac Babalafi in 1957 and registered for approval in 1959. And so it is not supposed that the tampered with by the government without the cost, without all meetings. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you. And Mr. Ademola Oloko, just in one sentence before we let you go, you want to add to those things in one line.
We just want a situation where our people will keep the peace because, as the Yoruba people say, see is one sorrow. Come and live and you see that back. By the special grace of God, Ibadan will continue to grow. Thank you very much for it.
All right, thank you. That's the voice of Ademola Oloko, the spokesperson for the Olubadan of Ibadan land. We've not been able to get to. We are really going to get the side of government. We're also frantically trying His Royal Majesty, Dr. Lekon. But if you can't get into it, don't worry. I will get in for you. All right, let's just take this short music break and we'll come back to you. Okay, yes, sir. We are welcome back. It's getting interesting, more interesting. Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9 FM. We are still in Ibadan, and we have one of the Mogajis online. Good morning, Okabesi.
Good morning. Good morning. No, I'm not really sure. I'm a Mogaji, so.
Okay, now introduce yourself. This is Rock City 101.9 FM. We are looking at the ascendancy to the traditional institution of Ibadan land, the attempt to restructure it or the restructuring. Please introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Engineer Adele Tishitu. I'm Mogaji Labo of Ibadan land.
What does Mogaji mean? What is your function?
Mogaji by Ibadan Balance is the lowest ranking lieutenant in the Ibadan army. I am the head of a clan or an area.
Okay, now this present restructure, how has it affected the Mogaji institution?
Mogaji still remains a Mogaji, and Mogaji is the pool from which chiefs that we are sent to the throne of the Olubadan are picked from. So it's like when you look at the list in the military balance, you will say the officers and the other ranks. So Mogajis are like lieutenants, and from there you become a chief on the path to the throne of the Olubadan of Ibadan.
Okay.
So the only thing that I might say for now is that there are a lot of irregularities in the process because Mogaji is superior to Dele in Ibadan land. Mogajis, they are the head of the family in the town, and they control also the farmland in the village. So for purpose of dissemination of information and distribution of power, the Mogaji puts Dele in the village to overlook the farmland and all that has to do with it. So, but now when you promote a Dele to become an upper, then what happens to his superior, who still has to go through several ranks?
That's the Mogaji. That's the Mogaji.
That's the Mogaji to become the Olubadan of Ibadan. Now, for us as Mogaji, there are some traditional Dele's that we are at our various outposts in those days of our fathers. And they live there. They don't have houses within the town, what we call family compound. They do a family compound within the town. So for some of these ones who say yes, all their lives is restricted to the four walls of the village. Now, that means that if such value on those outposts are made urban, now it means that's their own, the only thing they hold on to. But it's here where you have a valley that has become an urban today, who still has a Nogaji in town, then that's an aberration. Because you cannot have a family having two lines become another in Ibadan. Everybody decided to only one. You have two lines, but you can only be in one.
So it's only one line now. Okay, in one word, what's your position? What's your thought about the restructure now?
Now, for what the government has done, there are some aspects of it that we don't mind, but it's not the prerogative of the government to dabble into the traditional institutions. Yeah, you might have laws backing traditional institutions. At one time or the other, we might have registered the traditional chieftaincy procedures with the government. But the first of its kind that was done when there was need to review was done by the late Obakinyele. So we still have an Olubadan in place. So we believe that even if government feels that there is time to have some changes in our traditional institutions, in whatever form, should not be done without.
All right, so we must let you go.
Without the consent of the Olubadan.
Thank you, Magaji.
It's not even just ordinary consent. He has to be the one to share the something and see how that relates with our issue.
All right, thank you, Magaji. We must let you go because of our time to you. Okay, whatever restructure should have come from the palace, from the Olubadan himself. All right, thank you. We have to let you go. Yes, Daybreak Show, Rock City 101.9. We still have our guest here, as guest, we have Prince Lanre Ogundipe. But let's turn over the microphone to you. We must let you be a part of it. We welcome questions, either from any of the interviews we had with Ademola, Oloko, the people on the streets of Ibadan, the Magaji, and of course our guest, Lanre Ogundipe. 0809-8687-344.
Prince, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I greet you. In fact, I'm so happy this morning hearing from Ibadan. I lived in Ibadan for upward of 30 years, and then I think I can claim to become a Magaji in Ibadan too. But having said this,
with the new structure, you can be Magaji.
Exactly. But it's so very. I mean, I don't know how to put it this morning. Lata of Ibadan was positioned and probably being given to Chibola then, and then it was taken away from him. Probably the rope of that side too, and somebody is playing now. And I think I want to be so sure whoever is taking that position now. But let me say that what the governor has done is totally downplaying the successes that have been recorded in Ibadan over 100 years. And then I don't know if Human Rights Commission or probably the judiciary could be able to look up to this, because I can see where the direction is.
Kade, thank you.
Hello.
All right, thank you. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Dele.
Morning.
Our guest, good morning, Rebecca, aka Big Daddy.
Good morning.
So it's a very nice something. I always love your idea. What you always like to know, you used to bring it.
Thank you.
So the thing is, I only want to ask our guest this one. Don't you think that there's a problem when the two giants are fighting? I find out that it's the grass that will suffer. I had what happened when Akala was there. When he wanted to do such a thing, there is something that he never seemed clear to me, because I thought the thing happened. But there's a way to offer hand to it, which he wanted to bring conflict with them. Today, it happened. I wonder who is going to matter. Is it the citizen, or for them, this kind of what should be happening? Because what happened after? Only but what is said.
All right, thank you, Emeka. Your question, you have 10 seconds, 5 seconds. Okay. The next call, thank you.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, morning.
Good morning, Dele.
Good
Good morning, Chienye. My name is Dr. Nkom.
Thank you.
Good morning, Prince.
Thank you.
Sir, if you can hear my voice, my name.
Clearly, we
I am
can
not
hear
from
you.
this area. Yes. I am not from the Yoruba land. But I lived here for a very long time. I don't know any other thing in my area apart from Yoruba land. We were taught at that time that others are descendants of Oduduwa. They are children of Oduduwa. We know their names. And I remember Bolege was chastised because he said, Ibadan don't have Oba. I remember when they would remove the Chienye title from him and finally handed him into one of the Lanre record Jew. At the end of the day, he got the title. Yes, I've forgotten all the title now. I'm now asking, is it that story that others in the Yoruba land are children of Oduduwa is no more? Now that everybody is Yoruba. That is chronic. Has it gone forever? I am worried because I don't think everybody. And I'm worried because Olubadan is Olubadan. We have all known that. I'm worried because everybody, Elegbeda of Egbeda, this of and all that.
Alashero of Ashero.
Ashero. Maybe if I was in Ibadan land, I could have been attracted to the number of Ashero.
Only UI of UI.
Yeah, yes. So the question is that, sir, what has happened to that others in Yoruba land was children of Oduduwa?
Thank you.
Not just anybody.
All right, thank you. Let's
Thank you
add this call to it, then we'll allow our guests to react to issues from
Hello?
the first set. Morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Jay.
Good morning, sir. Fine, thank you.
Please, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Again,
So sure.
thank you. I lived in Ibadan. I schooled there. I'm a coach, don't you?
Which area of Ekotedo did you live?
A coach,
Where?
Ekote do elewe
Idioro, Yalobe, where?
Ekote do Olobe salvation. Which
Where?
one?
Ayodo, so go back on it.
Ẹ má ọ̀rọ̀ ọmọ Ìbàdàn lèmi náà.
Very close to Queen Cinema.
Ah, okay, that is Akintola Yorinde.
Ayọ̀nìdé.
Yes.
Adẹ̀nọba Adékòtẹ̀ ló ń gbà yẹn.
Baálẹ̀ lẹ́ni kì í ṣọba.
Ọba náà pè ń gbà yẹn o.
Baálẹ̀ Ekotedo, Ọmọlé. Ọmọlé.
Okay,
Yes.
what is wrong in asking the Mogaji? We know it is on the Mogaji, they teach this Olubadan. What is wrong in making them Oba?
Okay.
All right, that's your question. Thank you. All right. Okay, Prince Ogundipe, the first set.
One from the man that gave us the historical background of how Ibadan became a crowned Oba in 1976. Yes, it was Jemi Benwo that crowned the first beaded crown Oba in Ibadan. That is Oba Adebimpe in 1976. And the recommendation for the elevation for Ibadan, Ogbomoso, and few other Erua and the rest of them to wear beaded crown came from the Traditional Council, not from Jembewan's table. Jembewan was the chief executive governor of the state at that time, so he was fortunate to have performed that right. Now, we also talked about, you want to know the history we are talking about is 167 years
So we
old
can't
now.
tell that in
And we don't have enough time. I don't have enough time to go into that. But the Chieftaincy Law of 1957, which we are referring to, encapsulates everything that's needed to do with the traditional issue or chieftaincy matters in the states. And that is what we call Ibadan Declaration. And this is specifically for the Ibadan alone. And the prescribed authority there is the Olubadan of Ibadan. Is the prescribed authority, is the consenting authority. Now, the second person talked about when Bolage was derobed as Parakoyi of Ibadan land. He was installed as Parakoyi of Ibadan land by Oba Akinbiyi, Oba Daniel Akinbiyi. He made a statement at that period that led to what happened, and he was derobed by Oba Ashanike. He was derobed by Ashanike, and that title was passed on to Lanre Adepoju, that Ewi poet man. So that settles that. Then someone talked about what could have been the cause, because Akala attempted it and he failed, and now there is a resurgence of that same attempt. What will anybody could have think of would be the the thing behind it, the motive, avarice, simply avarice. And our elders, and what is the bane of the problem in our society today, Yoruba will say, àìfàgbàfẹ́nìkan kò dáyé ogún. So we need to learn to respect ourselves. We don't have to go into details over this and then come out and ridicule the processes which your father, my father, and our great grandfather were part of. Wọ́n ló ń torí ẹni dá ni kò ń torí ẹni bàjẹ́ náà. So I will not say more than that. Then the other caller said, what happens to the house of Oduduwa? Yes, all Yoruba agree that we are descendants of Oduduwa. Till tomorrow, we are still descendants of Oduduwa. There is no dissenting view about that. Now, when you look at why can't they become Oba? There is a dictum in Yoruba land that you can't have two kings in the palace, but you can have as many chiefs as possible. When you have two kings in the palace, what comes out of it? Chaos. And that is exactly what they have introduced now. Brothers who have seen themselves eating together in the same plate cannot afford to eat together in the same plate any longer. That is not part of Ibadan culture. That is not part of Ibadan tradition. Thank you.
All right, can we check the messages, please?
Yeah, sure we can. Okay, we have this SMS from Thomas Fadairo. I want to use this medium to call on the State Government Ministry of Environment as well as all agencies responsible for noise pollution to come to our rescue at Ojere GRA Extension Abeokuta. To confirm my claim, a visit to this area and inquiry from residents will suffice. It has become an embarrassment to all the people dwelling in this neighborhood that we can't even sleep at night because they have to play music from night till dawn. Okay, that's from Thomas Fadairi. Then we have this one. These our present government are not serious at all. APC has forgotten so soon how they condemned PDP through hate speech. Hate speech was the major weapon APC used to dethrone PDP. And hate speech is all over the world, and there is nothing anybody can do about it. Do you know what Obama went through when he signed the bill of gay marriage? Hate speech has been in existence right from the beginning of the world, and we are all used to it. Let them go and sit down and focus more on the major issues at hand. Valentine from Ijaba sent in that message. And we have this one from Laulu from Ijon. I think there should be a law guiding the executive powers that is influencing the traditional authority in Nigeria. Enough of this harassment from the politicians to our obas, and then the obas should stop receiving contracts from them. Thank you. That's a suggestion from Laulu. Then we have this one, the clash of traditionalism and modernism in Ibadan, recipe for chaos. Governor's interference uncalled for. That's from Cosmos. And we have this one, Otumba Dele, Governor Jimobi has crossed the red line. Politicians have no right to interfere in traditional monarchy. It's a despicable aberration on our ancestors. Olubadan remains the Oba and our father. All hail Ibadan land. Then the next one, it's a pity in this nation that many of those in position of power who ought to be the solution are busy creating problems for the citizenry on a daily basis. I want to appeal to the government of Oyo State to please take caution because we have enough problems with which we are battling with, and if they can't give solution, then they must not add to it. God bless Rock City, God bless Nigeria. Remy from Ilega sent in that one. Then necessity is the mother of invention. Ibadan people should embrace the new development. Okay, that was sent in by Bameke from Elega, Abeokuta. What is done in Ibadan land is not new. It exists in Abeokuta. The Olu of Igbe, Alakija of Ikija, Olu of Ifo, they are all under Alaki, the paramount head. Okay, that's from Aki. Then this very next one is from Pius from Shaje. Good morning, sir. Our guest in the studio. I'm not in support of what happened in Ibadan because it's not the duty of the governor to crown anybody as king. I don't blame him. The death of Baba Dedibu is what gave him the privilege. If not for the death, can he become the governor for the second time? Pius from Shaje sent in that message. Then Rock City FM 101.9. My name is Elder Babatunde. Your program for today is very interesting. The governor has no power over the traditional rulers. He is the father of all. The governor should stay clear from Oba's affair. Thank you very much. Then the fact that a first-class paramount ruler or any Oba are under the control of the local governments really tells the derogatory and limited powers of our traditional rulers. Speculations even have it that some Obas do prostrate for the governor because of and Ghana must go. Okay, the Olubado must apply caution and wisdom because if the governor disposes of him, nothing will happen. A word is enough for the wise. This was sent in by Omola Olutunde right here in Abeokuta. Can an Oba exist in isolation without a town as being witnessed in Ibadan? For example, Oba Otun Olubado of No Abode, MOK from Ayetoro sent in that one. Then we have Gafar from Elega on this one. I see no reason why Olubado throne would have been left unchecked since that is why he felt being challenged by Governor Ajimobi for the change. Gafar from Elega. Then Governor Ajimobi acted rightly and all major stakeholders of Ibadan land supported the action. The law enacted since 1957 is long overdue for review, and many clauses therein would have been so obsolete if the past governors have been brave enough to have been reviewed before now. Okay, can't they would be able to understand that KBS is fair after all, and the new law clearly stated whoever the Olubado is still the paramount ruler of Ibadan land. His Imperial Majesty, the head of all other Obas. What else? Okay, that's from Ade. Then we have this one from Jeramusho from Elega. Good morning. The exposition on Ibadan issue is quite revealing. Please, when shall we have the government side? Thank you. God bless Ibadan. Jeramusho is asking
Well,
that
we've been
question.
trying Toya Rodogun, who will have been the spokesperson who have spoken on behalf of the
In
government.
the network,
But so I think it's not because we spoke before we
started.
began the program. Yes.
Okay, we have this one from Yemi Da Vinci. Let's call a spade a spade. The target of this rigorous push is Rashid Ladoja. If he is made an Oba, he will have to retire from politics. Okay, you never can be so sure, Yemi Da Vinci. Then we have this one from Abi Fagbemi. What we want in Yoruba land is place to reign. Yoruba land it has always been known for peace and harmony, and let's peace be given a chance. Abefagbemi still, so Ibadan is a popular city in Yoruba land, also known in the world. Okay, ẹ̀yin àgbà ìlú dọwọ́ yín o. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí ìlú bàjẹ́. God bless Yoruba land. Okay, that's from Abefagbemi. Then Oluwashola Idowu. Is anything wrong with the system? How they appointed Olubadon? Then Yemi Da Vinci. When a government makes a law for its own pecuniary gains, it should think of when it's no longer there, like who determines what is hate speech. Don't fix what is not broken. Ibadan has an ascendancy structure that its rivals admire in envy. Ibadan electing a second-term governor led to all this. Then this is from Lawal. It's quite unfortunate the type of rulers we have presently. The salaries were owned to the tune of 5 months at local government and state, despite meddling in local government matters. Then when a house is peaceful, the bad child of the house has not grown yet. What is happening in Ibadan presently is very shameful. And then this one from Abayomi Babalola. The traditional rulers, not only Ibadan, they have sold out their rights and integrity by being partisan in politics and favor seeking. Then Akorede Camille, been following the event in Ibadan since it started, And with what everyone is saying, Governor Ajimobi is biting more than he can chew. Then Abayomi Babalola, the government could eventually win this case if the Olubado of his legal team don't fight this to a standstill. Then Professor Agbola AAA, Ajimobi wanted to create history by establishing the political obas, which cannot stand the test of time. Soja go, soja come. Then historically, all obas in Yoruba land are all traceable to Ile-Ife. Is Olubado having this crown from Ife? The answer is no. Then lastly, Tolulokwe Onokoya. Your guest has hit the mark. This administration started the trend of hate speech even when sworn in. We had lots of propaganda. Okay, that's all for me.
All right, and of course that will be it. If you check your time, it's just about 4 minutes to 11. That means we have less than 4 minutes to do this. Let's permit our guests to react to some of the message. Obviously, we can't take all. Don't worry, just keep sending the message. The debate should continue on our different social platforms. Please, Ogundipe, somebody talked about former Governor Ladoja. Is it the next in rank to the Ibadan?
It's not.
So what is his position in all this? Because somebody
Ladoja did not support. He didn't make himself available.
so even he wouldn't have been the next to Ibadan. So
No, he's not. He's not. He still has 1, 2, 3. He has 3 people
ahead of him. Okay. Do you want to react to any of the issues? Some of the
Sincerely, I must say that all those comments and from our people has distilled the entire submission here this morning, and I must say that yes, they are quite right. One ní ẹni tí ó bá ṣe nǹkan tẹ́nìkan ò ṣe rí ojú ẹ̀ náà sì máa rí nǹkan tí.
And to end it, how do you think this will end? Has this come to stay? How do you think it will end?
I told you in the course of this interview that as the Lord lives, that decision will not stand.
Okay, that's it. We must again appreciate everybody, those that spoke to us from Ibadan. We apologize on behalf of the network now because we have placed both Toyi Arolegun and His Royal Majesty Lekan Balogun on standby before coming into the studio. So don't worry, we'll find a way. Trust us, this is the voice of the people. We'll never disappoint you. I appreciate those of you who also contributed, those who called, those who just listened patiently and enjoyed it. And of course, our guest, we dragged him all the way. We'll have been on his way to Nasarawa, but I redirected his route. Thank you, my President Emeritus. Thank you so much for coming. Dele Ayodo is my own name. I say God bless you all. God bless Nigeria. God bless Rock City.